happens a lot will either be cord, because then they could get more stem cell research out of that. Plus, stem cells do sell for quite a good amount.
Or you get the occasionally a pedophile who will do that, and then they just raise their own child instead of like kidnapping someone else's, because then it's less suspicious if a child has randomly gone missing compared to them just having one growing up.
Us. This is so strange. I've never had a conversation
um, it was fun.
What? You did that? You took a child?
No, 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 no. I'm just how
Are you selling organs?
knowledgeable. That is debatable.
What
I'm
do
not gonna
people buy
answer that.
boobs for?
Well, it depends on what, like, do you want the entire thing itself, like including the tissue and fat with it? Some people just want the skin with it because, well, when they want the skin and the nipples, that's just for a whole other reason. But it's a booming market to um, sell breast milk illegally. It's a rising market on top of kidneys as well. And you know, Pally, since we were on the topic of like hiding dead bodies, I didn't even get into like the best way to go about doing like mass killing sprees and having suspicion not be on you or to have people not even connect them. Because typically in serial like killers, they normally like it's men who are going after like young blonde female, or people are targeting a specific demographic, or they have similar MOs and like use similar techniques to do it. You can't do that. You have to be random about it. Like you gotta attack some poor white girl, some like burly black man, and then like you gotta go everywhere because then they won't connect it as easier. They're just gonna think they're all separate. Plus, you also want to kill them like in different ways too. You don't want to have people connect all the dots. And plus, you don't want to do it if, say, like you're like travel around on business and like I don't know, say there's like a convention in like every city, and you go to every convention, and then that's when you do it. Then they're gonna be like, oh well, someone goes to this convention. No, just do it randomly. 'Cause the best way for systematic killing is to have no system about it at all. Or at least make it seem like you don't have a system. And I'm not crazy, I swear. Okay, the price of babies. That's a good one. Do you want me to just go over like the general topics, including, race, season, in-state, or in the country, outside? Or do you have like a preference you'd like me to go over again? Yes to all of it? Okay. This gets fun. Um, so, where did I start off last time? I don't remember. Okay, so basically, average price of an infant is about 10 grand. And the prices.
That's so cheap.
I know, it surprisingly is. I mean, granted, I don't have the updated price. It was 10 grand about 5 years ago, so it may have inflated slightly. I can't give you a definite
Were you in
on
the
that.
market 5 years ago?
I'm not answering that, because Pally
Oh
was
my
talking about
God.
recording this. What? um,
Oh.
but basically, the prices change depending on the season. In late fall, winter, they tend to be slightly cheaper by 1 to 2 grand depending on where you're going. Spring, summer, they're the average 10 grand price. And then also race as well. White babies are clearly the higher demand. So those are higher, whereas, for example, we had a black baby, they're about 1 to 2 cheaper depending on where you're going and also where they were born. And that's for like in the country. If you want to go out the country, they're extremely cheap in China and India. But if you want to do that, you don't, unless you're like a pro at this, you don't want to smuggle your own baby into the country, because that's just going to get bad. So you need to hire someone for that. And then along with smuggling, they typically do with all the paperwork, the fake documents for passports, and then whatever country you want the baby to be like a natural born citizen of. So those can, just for a regular person smuggling, that's about 5 grand. For the additional paperwork and such, that typically be to 6 to 8 grand, depending on how much you need or how demanding you are about it. And then that it's the 1 to 2, 1 to 3 for the actual child. But even though it can be cheaper going out of the country, it's just more risky that way. So it's just, you gotta weigh the pros and cons with it. Did I miss anything?
I would love to hear the pros of
Well,
buying a
well, I
baby.
mean, like the pros and cons of going like in country versus out of country. I mean, if you go out of country, you're gonna save a few grand compared to in the country, but there's a higher risk of getting caught. Plus, you also have to bring in like that middleman who's actually going to be taking the baby or doing all the paperwork. So then that requires even more networking as well. And then also, the more you network, the more there's the chance of, if someone gets caught and gives up names, you might be on that list. And so even though if it is more expensive to do it in the States, it's a lesser risk. And there's surprisingly a lot more like task forces, there we go, created about like overseas smuggling compared to like in the States, because it's not as big of a deal like in America as it is overseas. So there's a lot of countries that work together, kind of like the UN. And then also, getting them out of the country, the risk of them having like diseases or infection that are common in those areas, because they're most likely like newborns and not vaccinated yet due to being at a young age, or simply because sometimes it's just not included in the package.
You're acting like you're buying a car. Like, well, if you want the premium package, I mean, we'll vaccinate your baby for you while you steal it.
Exactly. Like if you want I'd say like the ultimate premium package would be getting it like overseas vaccinated with the person smuggling it, as well as having the passport. Well, technically babies don't really need their own passport, but to have the certificate of whatever natural born country you want them to be from, and technically that'd be like the premium package.
I just don't even know what to say. I'm just so mind blown right now.
And there is still a lot, like, I got into some more stuff as well that I haven't brought up yet here. I went over hiding dead bodies in the backyard, things like that. Well, backyard specifically, because that's what Shiv brought up.
Nice. Does anyone have Hearthstone that wants to play me just for shits and giggles?